We are back for another season of Love is Blind. We're on season 8. Okay, and let me tell y'all, okay? I'm looking for it. I'm trying to find it, but this season is dry. Okay? Now, I've only watched the first 2 episodes and I'm just like, whoever decides to go to what are we in Minnesota, you need to get jumped. Okay? What was it about this place that stood out to you? Now, in some ways, it is good to see regular old people falling in love, not having agendas, because that's what everybody wanted, right? Weren't people tired of people coming on this show with, for fame, influencership? This might be the first season that I'm seeing people who just really want love. And do we want more seasons like this? Okay. But first, I am Denise Brady. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. If you are new here, welcome. Stay for a while. We love talking about relationships, documentaries, movies, TV shows, all from the lens of a therapist to help you learn about yourself and your relationships with other people. Now, upon getting into this season, I had no expectations. I was looking for nothing. Okay? Because the whole rollout for this season said a lot. There was a lot of silence. Normally we get a lot of pre-interviews, previews, one-on-one confessional things that they add to the Netflix social media spaces. We didn't get none of that. And so the closer we got to the date, I was like, it must be dry. It must be boring because y'all not giving us nothing. It was either going to be that or for the first time, people stuck to their NDAs and didn't release any information. All right. But normally even, and this was another telltale sign. Okay. Strong Black Lead, their social media page. Where you at? Normally every season y'all give us a grid of individuals who are of color, who are Black, African American. Okay. We see all these women. We see all these men. This season there was no grid. Did y'all notice that? Go to their page over there. Because as of today, there was no grid with a bunch of Black faces. So that was another telltale sign of, Take note, Denise. Don't go into no expectations. Don't go into this thinking it's going to be a lot to talk about, at least thus far in these first 2 episodes. Now, okay, there was a lot of lack of diversity. There wasn't a lot of context to me to dig deep and, go into this rich analytical. Is that what the guy said? There wasn't a lot of rich analytical things to go over, but there were some things that popped out to me. Okay. I'm not going over all the couples because there was a lot of filler, look at the aerial view of the pods, seeing my girls, the 2 of them as side pieces, just in the background, the bestie on the couch. Not really seeing them going on many dates. So I'm just like, here we go. Okay, we got 1 Black guy that we've seen. Okay, and I believe 2 Black girls so far. So 3, and only 1 of them is really going to make it to be a fiance. And based on the previews, we already know who that is. Okay, but I know some themes here. A lot of these people have gone through some parentified relationships with their parents, estrangements, and a lot of people are grieving relationships with deceased individuals who are like parental figures, or they are parental figures themselves who they've lost. Okay. And throughout this, I'm wondering how is that really going to impact, them coming from a childhood of having to be parentified. How is that going to show up in their relationship dynamic? So out of everything I wanted to focus on in this video, I really want to talk about parentification, complex PTSD, oversharing, and when you are dating and on your healing journey, or you've been through a lot of therapy and a lot of trauma, at what point do you really share that information? Because, we have someone on this season called, I'm not going to say called. We have someone on this season, this dynamic between Madison, Mason, and I forgot the other crazy girl, the loopy one who be watching and listening to Joe Rogan. Okay, with the dirty feet. I can't remember her name at this moment. I know I'm not good with names, all right? But let's take a deep dive a little bit into Madison. Okay, what's with the Madisons these last couple months? But Madison, to me, her relationship dynamic with some of these men is quite interesting because she's been through a lot. And I think she has a lot of trauma. I feel like maybe she's been through a lot of therapy. Let me know what you guys think. Does she use a lot of therapy speak? Or is it her just vomiting all of her stuff onto, the different men she meets? Or can it be she's just trying to be open and transparent about what she has been through, so you know what you're getting? Okay? You know what you're getting. Now, there is a difference between PTSD and complex PTSD. And sometimes they do overlap. I feel like with complex PTSD, people have been through over time different traumas, more than one. Whereas some people might see PTSD as one single trauma. And sometimes the triggers and things overlap. And now looking at Madison, I am not her therapist. I am also just discussing this from a viewpoint of edits, scenes, things they want us to see, and things she has said. I don't know her personally. So this is me just looking in as a therapist and watching this show. I see someone who has been through some complex PTSD levels of trauma. Her trying to navigate herself, dating, her relationships with her mother, their lack of. But she, along with some other people on this show, remind me of people who are trying to heal and trying to come to terms with some of the things that they have been through while they're dating. And in this case, you're not even dating. You going from talking about it through a wall to going into a marriage. And with Madison, she talks about the strained relationship with her mother due to her substance abuse. Having to at times be a parent to her mother. I know there's a lot of people out there who can relate to and have been through having to be a parent for your parents because of their mental health, because of their substance abuse, because of unhealed trauma they have gone through. That sometimes they don't have the emotional intelligence to raise you. And due to their inability to, whatever the reason is, in this case Madison's, to raise you, you become the adult. And what does that look like? Taking on adult responsibilities, lacking a childhood, making sure the adults around you are okay. She has talked about having to make sure, I believe it was her stepdad, that he was still breathing on her own birthday. It was her job to make it so that everyone around her was being taken care of. That was all on her as a child. Visiting her mom in and out of rehab centers. The same thing with her father. To be honest with you guys, my own father, passed away from substance abuse himself. And I remember as a child visiting him inside of rehabilitation centers. So I have a history of some similar things. And, it takes a lot to kind of grieve the parent you wanted, the parent you had. And what that means to that little person inside you, that your parent at times cannot overcome their drug abuse, their substance abuse history, because their addiction is a lot stronger. Some people see it as they love the drugs more than me. I personally see it as addiction is a part of mental health and things related to that. So do I see it as my father choosing drugs over me? I don't see it that way. I also really didn't have a chance to really get to know him because he was on and off crack cocaine my entire life. So me being a child of someone who has dealt with substance abuse, and unfortunately him passing away due to substance abuse issues, I can see some of the things of, her avoidant attachment style. Okay. Not allowing people to get close to you because you're afraid you're going to get hurt. Not wanting to take on more responsibilities of another person. Now with her, I'm still trying to figure out, was it okay to share so much or was it too much? Because she went on one date. I forgot his name. Was it Ben? Sorry, y'all. Y'all don't do the names too well. He asked her about her attachment style, which was a good question. Okay? You're smart, buddy. Because we don't hear too many people in these pods talk about attachment styles. And as soon as she said, what do y'all think her attachment style is? Soon as she said it was an avoidance, I knew it. Okay? Yes, you are an avoidant. It shows because you've been through so much trauma. Most people who have been through or have been diagnosed with PTSD or complex PTSD have avoidant attachment styles. They avoid people to not get hurt. But there's a side of Madison where I'm like, you're a little bit sexual. Okay, I wonder if you lead with your body and emotions second. Okay, the way she was talking to Mason about what she's wearing and trying to, discuss more of the physical. I think sometimes people who have avoidant attachment styles, they lead with physical. Okay, so that you don't have to get close. You can be distracted by all of this, the outfits. Okay, you ain't gotta get close to me in the way emotionally, but we can get close physically. I've seen it on the Queer Ultimatum. I've seen it on a lot of Love is Blind. I haven't really seen that too much on Married at First Sight because I don't think they really focus so much on the physical on there. But some of the shows on Netflix tend to cast people who have more avoidant attachment style and anxious attachment style. So looking at this, I feel like Madison is somebody that I'm keeping my eye on because I'm wondering how those unhealed parts of herself, those the parentified child, the avoidant attachment style, the PTSD arc, how that's going to play a role. Okay? Because once again, there's no time to really get to know you like I should. Because the game here is to, I guess, get engaged in dates. But how would you feel about you were in the pods with somebody and they had all the red flags? Maybe not the cheating, maybe not the lying, but the mental health aspects of, you're openly admitting you can be dismissive, you can be avoidant, you were a parentified child, you come from a family background of substance abuse. And am I saying that we should judge her by all that? No, I'm not saying that at all. But when you are going into a marriage, this is the foundation. I would have loved to hear more about if she has been in some therapy, how she is working on some of these things. But at times I'm like, can we pull it back a little bit? You're saying too much, okay? Let him and these other men get to know you outside of the attachment style, the substance abuse that your parent has gone through. Not to mention, we often talk over here a lot about parental dynamics between mothers and daughters. Okay, I'm so interested if we'll ever see her mother, which I'm doubting that we will based upon the fact that they have a strained relationship. But I would want to see more about that interaction. Okay, because I always say your relationships with your parents really do pour into your relationship with your romantic partners. Okay, and I want to know more about how they tried to make it work. Are you no contact? How long you been no contact? I also want to hear more about the relationship she had with her stepdad, or if there really was a relationship. Did she also say that her biological father passed away from substance abuse? I can't remember, but I know that her mom was with the first guy, and then when she was very young, her mom got with the stepdad, who she also married, and they both had substance abuse issues. Now imagine, if you can, a child living in a home where both people have substance abuse issues. The things you have to witness, walk into, experience emotionally, and how it really is your job to be independent. And it's hard for people to come out of that hyper independence that was conditioned and ingrained in them as children, because now as an adult, you've been this person since pretty much at birth. Fending for yourself, protecting yourself, you have been in survival mode. All on your own. Because your parents were out on them streets doing whatever. So now, how do I balance my independence, but let somebody in? And I don't think it's going to be a very healthy thing, with her, because I just don't know how she's going to let somebody in past the physical. I want to see her connect emotionally. I want to see her put the logic that she admits that when she gets upset, she becomes logical. It makes me think about you have a plan A, B, C. All this stuff going on in your head as this argument is happening. Okay? You're trying to figure out, always having to be on this game of chess, checkers, that I wonder if people really get to know you. Okay? But a lot of these episodes, it was a lot of fluff, a lot of angles, a lot of nonsensical conversation. The other thing I thought was interesting was the whole conversation about LGBT community. Okay. Now, the way that this guy spoke about, the religion aspect versus faith, and how the girl believes that, her sister is gay, so how can she believe in some of the rhetoric that she was raised in when it comes to Christianity? And he refers to them often as that community. Okay. It's almost giving those people, but he's not using those words. And I feel like he's trying to convince not only himself, but her that even though he is faithful, he's religious, even though he tries not to use that word, your sister being gay is not a problem. It reminded me of the whole, I got a black friend, so I'm not racist. Okay. I got a couple gay friends, so, it doesn't bother me. I'm just really not believing that he can put aside his religion, even though he keeps using the word faith to sugarcoat it, that he can put aside his religious beliefs in order to make something work. And I don't even know if you really should have to put aside your religious beliefs. It just feels like in this situation, he really wants something out of the pods, which is a wife, which is what you came for. But are you trying so hard to get a wife that you're willing to pretend like you're not as religious as you really are? Because even when I did my live and we talked about and went through the cast, I noticed that there were a lot of religious overtones. And I said, I wonder how this is going to affect the relationship dynamic. And what does it say about, maybe it's a Midwest thing? Is Minnesota Midwest? I think so. I think we tend to see in Middle America a lot more religious aspects, beliefs. A lot of those red states also have a lot of political things. And there's a lot of political, human rights issues happening right here through this damn presidency every single day. Is the erasure of the LGBT community. Okay. But to me, it kind of feels like he is trying to convince himself because he really likes her. And he has a goal, and the goal is to be a wife. But I feel like at times on these shows, especially Love is Blind, and in the beginning of these pods, people are willing to put aside what I really believe, what I really feel, because I want something. I want to continue the show. I want a wife. I want to go to Mexico. Okay, I want to get married. But we always see it tends to come out. You can only pretend for so long before the truth comes out and who you really are comes out. Okay. But some other things I said I didn't really like that there's not a lot of diversity. We don't see a lot of people of color in general. We have 3 black girls, 1 black guy who is getting a lot of attention, but we don't see no Asian people, no Indian people. Did we even see any Latino people? I don't even know if I saw any Latino people. I'm just like, when are we going to get to a point where we have more diversity, more inclusion? But is, Love is Blind about inclusion? Is it about diversity? I'm not saying we need the whole DEI, thing. Because is DEI still alive? Is it dead? But I just think in general, I would love to see different types of people, different types of religion, backgrounds, cultures. But this season is very white. It is very white and it's very dry, and it's Minnesota. Okay. Maybe I was expecting too much. All right. But we're still in the pods. Oh, another thing I realized when I was watching, I started to watch, I went through the episodes and I looked at the lineup. And how many episodes did they drop? Okay, they dropped 7 episodes? I think. I might be wrong. I need to look it up. But I could have sworn when I looked up this morning, like at least 6 or 7 episodes were there. I was like, oh, y'all really not fucking with this season. Y'all really don't like it that y'all just giving it to us all at one time. Okay. But when I looked it up on Google, it was going to be 3 episodes at a time. I could be wrong. Let me go back and look at it. But you can just tell Netflix was like, we don't like this. We're not happy with it, but we spent the money, so we're going to put it out there. But it's very dry. Okay? Normally I get through a lot of episodes the first day, but this time I started watching like, babe, you want to go eat some lunch? I'm going to go shopping. Let me do some paperwork. Okay, let me get some things done. I'm going to come back to this. All right. And it's like I said, it is good to see regular, smegular old people falling in love, but I guess I missed the drama. But I'm only 2 episodes in, okay? But I feel like Madison is going to be very interesting. Okay, someone who has a lot of just layers, who's showing up one way. People see her physically and get caught up in the physical. But then when they when they get to know her mentally, they're just like, yeah, I'm not into that. You know? So I'm wondering, will we see more of that? All right. But these are just my thoughts on the first 2 episodes. A lot of people this season have a lot of parental trauma, a lot of grief, watching their parents get sick, having elderly parents, having siblings who have also passed. There's a lot of, grief here. And I wonder if some of that grief is unresolved. How does it show up in your dating and your relationship with others? And how soon with meeting someone do you guys think you should share your trauma? You should share the grief. Is it something someone should know at the forefront? Especially in this kind of dynamic where everything is so fast? Or should people wait to tell their truth, their stories, share about themselves? I don't know. I want to hear from you guys because I'm just like, Madison, can we pull it back a little bit? Let him get to know you. Okay, girl? Is it self-sabotage? I'm just like, as a therapist, can we pull it back? You shared enough. You ain't got to give it all, girl. You ain't got to give it up all at one time, all right? And then when she switched over to sharing more of what I'm wearing, my outfits, how I can turn you on, I was like, you're one of those. You lead with the physical and they get you caught up because once people get into the physical, they like you and they kind of like gravitate towards you. But then when you calm down the physical and you try and bring in that mental side, whoa, what happened to the fun party girl? I don't want the girl who got all that mess going on, okay? And it's sad because there are a lot of men who are just like, keep that over there, the mental health aspect, lead with the physical. But they don't get to know the person as a whole. They want parts of the person. Women too, not just men, whatever you identify as. Sometimes people just want the physical and not the deep side. And I think the deep side is really what is missing from relationships, the emotional intelligence. You know what we say over here? What is the foundation giving? Remember, this is a marriage. We just not dating it. We just not kicking it on the couch. I'm about to put a ring on your finger and wipe you up. So, what are we pouring in over here? And looking at these couples, well, I guess we don't have couples in these first 2 episodes. What are we really pouring in that's going to grow? That's going to be the foundation of our forever. Marriage nowadays, it still can be forever, y'all. I know people really don't focus on the forevers of relationships anymore, our marriage, but it's still possible to find your forever. But you have to look at, what am I pouring in? What are they pouring in? And how do we put that together in our soil so that we can grow, evolve, and have a healthy forever? All right? But let me know your thoughts on these first 2 episodes. I found something. Okay, I found something. Now let me know. We'll get into it. See you in the comments. Like this video. Subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye.